What's up, guys? Back in today with another reaction to Baccano, this time with episode 3. Really good episode last time out. We focused quite a bit on what I'm going to assume is the kind of American couple, and I really like them. They hit it off pretty well with the kind of scarred couple as well. Scarred woman and the kind of tattooed face guy. I really like their relationship as we went through the episode, but we did hear something about a monster of sorts. I can't exactly remember the specifics, but it was a monster that kind of chase after, it's like the train eater or something like that. It would like chase after the train and eat it, and few people getting a bit frantic about that. I think there's a lot more they should be worried about on top of that, if that is a thing. But I'm looking forward to getting this one, which I don't think is actually going to be continuing on from that. I believe, from what I remember from the preview, we're actually going to be focusing on the mafia stuff again. Now, you know, I fucked that up, sorry guys. Well, I pressed play and it didn't play, so apologies, but do that again. Yeah, from what I remember from the preview, we're focusing on the mafia, kind of mafioso stuff again, so should be pretty interesting. That's probably the stuff I know absolutely least about so far. I think the train stuff is pretty easy to keep up with from what we did see. But that first episode made the kind of mafia stuff a little bit convoluted, a little bit confusing. I think it's one of those things that kind of gets unwrapped over time as the show goes on, though, isn't it? Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you guys would like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date. Slizzard. I quite like Lad Russo as well, you know. Seems like a bit of a brutal guy, but I quite like him. I don't think. Oh, so that. Oh, that. Oh, crap! I didn't even realize that. That was his family. Oh, crap! So I love how they implemented that preview into the opening there. That's pretty fucking awesome. Preview, should I say, like flashback kind of. Yeah. (1932). I'm also really not great at history, so you got to apologise if there is any like massive historical ongoings during these time periods. I think this is about the time of like Hitler and such, but like I said, I'm really great. And I was never too, especially my older self, I was never too interested in the past. Randy and Pecco? Okay. So I think, who did she say here again? Dallas. Was that the guy we saw at the end of the opening, right? That's drowning. Steve Gennard. Yeah, Dallas Gennard, yeah. We see that woman who we just saw there with a picture of him, don't we? That's his daughter. She says Nissan here, so older brother, I guess, then actually. So they're looking for him in the lake. They're looking for his body, I assume, as he's been drowned. Randy and Pecho, we'll say, are busy getting ready for the party. Okay. Pecho. It's an interesting name. Sounds Hispanic, but I can't say we've ever heard of a Hispanic person had that name, so maybe not. It does feel like we've got quite a cultural cast of characters, doesn't it? Quite a variety of people from different places. It feels like we've got some Italians, some Americans, some Polish, some pirates. And probably a lot more than that. Daily days. $500. Oh yeah, that's a lot for this time period. I think. At least he's honest. Holy shit. You guys are armed to the teeth. Oh yeah. Jesus. It looks like that. So he was awfully confident, to be fair, wasn't he? Yeah, so a year even before that. Yeah. Wow, what a douchebag. What a fucking douchebag. Just chuck his cigarette on someone. Yeah. Who right? So is this Dallas? I mean, I was about to say, like, probably quite easy to make enemies, seemingly, for him, but this is fucking warranted. How disrespectful is that? There's Dio. We saw quite a bit of in that first episode, actually, didn't we? Back to the year before. Also, I've got to apologise. It might be a little bit hard to keep up with the what happens in what year. So we are back on the train. Okay. That's such a weird relationship. Hmm. I mean, might sound obvious, but if he really wanted to kill her slowly, he should have let her live and die naturally, right? That is essentially a long death. They actually want to kill her? Weird relationship, this, isn't it? That's where they met. Oh, there's a wanted poster for them. $5,000. Dead or alive. And it's just him. Jacuzzi. Yeah. Splot. What a fucking name that is. Birthplace, Chicago. Alright. Splots. This guy, the names in the show are so strange, aren't they? Memorable. Which is good. Weird though, you'd think Jacuzzi Splot would stand out a bit more than Lad Russo, but Lad Russo stands out to me a lot for some reason. Sounds weirdly recognisable. There sure is, isn't there? Let's not forget about that orchestra band planning their fucking ordeal. Randy. Oh, this is Randy and Petra. Oh, don't try that. He's not got a fireproof glove, has he? Stop, drop and roll. Oh, for fuck's sake. So these guys are the local idiots. There's always a couple in that gang, isn't there? Or like a mafia or something. There's always a couple idiots. Fucking hell, lads. Oh god. What the hell? What kind of brutality is this? Let's see, what was even the point of that? What was the point of that? Did you know, just. Oh shit. This was the point of that. Immortal rats. Man, that's a scary thought, honestly. Again, I'm really not too clued up in my history. I did study medicine history. I said earlier, I've said this in a few videos actually. I was always really bad at history. Yeah, when I got my choices to decide what to study, I chose to study the history of medicine, of all things, which I was terrible at. But I did learn some interesting stuff about the Black Plague and so on, about like anesthesia and stuff like that. Um, but obviously, the rats were a very big reason as to why the plague and such spread so far. So, can you imagine if the plague was going about and rats were actually immortal? That would just be the end of human civilization, there, right? If the rats were just like undying. So, this is actually a very scary concept here, right? Or maybe I'm just very not knowledgeable. This wouldn't have affected things. But I do believe it already kind of took out like a third of the world or something crazy, right? Now imagine you couldn't kill the fucking cause. Yeah, Jesus, that was terrifying. So was that not perfected when the people we've seen became immortal? Oh wow, this just so happens to be his place that got set on fire here. Damn, that is unfortunate. Or maybe fortunate, depending how you look at it. Probably very fortunate that this research or whatever fucking dies, to be honest. So he managed to bring 2 bottles of that elixir, we'll call it, with him. Okay. I was gonna say as well, the author of these kind of stories, this and Durara, is like one of the only people you actually see black people in their shows as well. It's not very common. Well, we're going to be asking the same question. Oh, he's good at his job, isn't he? He's really good at his job. Yes, he's that kind of cliched, like, yes, information. But you got to be like that, I think, for a job like that, haven't you? I feel like if a normal person like me done a job like that, I would be very much overwhelmed instantly. Looks good. So it is literally the first one you tried, so. Look who it is. Alright. Watch yourselves. No idea what that means. Rubbernecker. Maybe someone that twists their head too far to spy on people. Something along those lines. Someone who like looks around the corner to kind of spy on people. A bit nosy. So this is Ennis, I believe. Looks nice. He left a pin thing. So again, sorry guys, but I am slightly confused. I did mention earlier that I would be confused with the whole timeline of events going from like 1930 to 1931 to 1932, I think it was. And we just saw the couple go to that shop and a fancy shop, right? So, and there wasn't a signified kind of time change here. I think we can assume that the time's changed, but it's just like, again, it's a little confusing to me anyway that we just saw a scene with the American couple, or what I assume is the American couple, in America going to the store, and then we now switch to a scene where they're on the train, but it wasn't signified that the time has changed. So again, you've got to bear with me, and I'm unfortunately watching these a couple episodes in advance, so I can't read your comments before like the next episode, for example, which would be really helpful a lot of the time. So that is a shame, but yeah, don't get too mad at me if again I do get maybe confused, or I do mix a few things up with what happened like a year before. I might think something happened like a year later, for example. Hopefully not, but yeah, if it continues like what we just saw there, like I said, just kind of going from scene to scene. I don't think they can do it every time because that would be like, I think you'd take up maybe a minute or two of kind of runtime just putting in cards saying that we're moving to the year 1931, for example. So I don't think you can do that every time, but yeah, you got to bear with me. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to assume every time we go back to the train, it's going to be where we go forward a year. I think it's forward a year. We did see that scene last week. Johnny. I don't know why I feel like Nick's gonna die. That guy looks creepy. This guy sure got a lot out of a little, didn't he? Jesus. He really did. Honestly, though, might not be too bad considering what's about to go down. Oh dear. What did she just say? What did she just say? That sounded like a ramble. Like that baby's ramble. Samantha. What the fuck did she just say? She did never definitely. I've got a friend called Elaine, which is, I guess, kind of similar to Elaine. Um, what the hell did she just say here? Voodoo, voodoo. It sounds nothing like that, like what it says down there. What the hell? It sounds like a baby crying. Voodoo. Wow. I guess that might just be one of those words that is incredibly difficult for a Japanese person to pronounce. So he runs this paper place. The greatest juvenile delinquent. Quite the title. Wow. The greatest scumbag in the world. Yeah, pretty rude to be talked about like that. It slipped out, did it? Man, this guy was having a blast fucking dissing him right there. The greatest scumbag delinquent in the world. Scorn of nice people. Oh, this guy's forehead is ginormous, isn't it? Samantha don't look too impressed either. I've got to say, I was like, you appreciate the, especially for this like time period. I said earlier about like the representation and there's a lot of people from a lot of different places, but I've got to say that this guy is, I would say it's like racist or anything, but he has got a giant forehead and massive lips, so it does feel a little bit kind of caricature, if you know what I'm saying. It does feel a little bit stereotypical, but yeah. If he's a good character, which I'm hoping he is, I mean, he's in a position of quite high power here, which is nice to see. As I said, he seemingly kind of runs this information broker business. Makes you question why he'd let his seemingly sister become a maid if he was in such a high regarded position. I guess it is a little bit accurate. Black people do have quite luscious lips, and the white girl has literally got none. She has got no lips, just a black line. So I guess that is quite accurate. Really? Nothing. That almost tells you something in itself. A place that brokers so much information doesn't even know where he is. Must be somewhere. Yeah, might be quite the ordeal. Be quite the place he's at. So there is Gennard. Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's also immortal and he's just constantly drowning in the sea somewhere, not able to get out. That would be quite a horrible fucking life, wouldn't it? You can't die, yet you're constantly getting drowned. Imagine that. Imagine the years of that. Imagine how you get like the wrinkles on your hands. Imagine how wrinkled you are after that as well. Come on, bro, hit a fucking shot. Loser. That is Jedi. Oh, really? Ah, knife to the face. The first shot, eh? This guy. Yeah, not even a thank you. Not even a thank you. More than you know. I think he does. More than you know. He has you to thank for his life's work, seemingly. I was gonna say, you're not like the least bit intrigued to see what's in the box. Ah, I really killed him. Does he know what's in there? It's a crazy guy. As that dude's family. Look at this guy's face. Take this fucker out, someone. I love that this guy's going in here with a knife as well. Jesus. He literally brought a knife to a gunfight. Yeah, you're a little bit out of class here, bro. So he already took it. Okay. Oof. Jesus. Bloody hell. I mean, looks like I'm not gonna sort out a timer, but one of the was it the crew in black, the orchestra guys, was it? I think, yeah, I think it was one of the orchestra, the black guys in the black suits. I think they were in here, so that guy caused all this. Like, bloody hell, that is quite the damage. He literally ripped this guy's arm off, clean from like, he either ripped it off or literally snapped off the bone. Like, holy crap! How could he cause that much damage? Jesus, that's brutal. There was a redhead guy in here who I think is also like immortal, so I assume he's still alive. Not sure which one he is here though, or if he even is still here. I can't. Is that him? It's kind of hard to tell because I think it is. I think he's got red hair. Kind of hard to tell because of the blood. Yeah, it's dark. Yeah, he thinks I'm monsters eating him, of course. The Rail Tracer. Okay, pretty awesome episode. I wasn't expecting as much of the train stuff as we did get, to be honest. Like I said, the preview didn't show any train stuff, so good episode. Good episode. As I keep mentioning, the kind of timeline of things is a little confusing. So I think once I get it down, it won't be too confusing. It's like the train events happen in 1 year, the events on the ground with like the guy with the immortal elixirs and the shopping that we saw is a year before that, and then the no, I think that's 2 years before that, and then the search for Dallas is like a year after that. Again, I'll go back in a minute and figure it out. I think I can figure it out if I do try hard enough here. And when I say try hard enough, I mean like literally, I give it 2 minutes. Shouldn't be too bad, but remembering that is what's going to be quite hard, I think. But yeah, I think the late stuff, the latest of the things is the train, right? Yeah, I didn't expect Dallas Jenner to be such a piece of work, man. Jesus. So there's a couple of things I do want to go back here. I do want to go back to the timing of things. I also do want to go back to the scene where we'll get a lot of Lad Russo next episode. Yeah, I do want to go back quickly to the scene of where is it? Dallas Jennard killing this old man. Did he know what's in there? I imagine he did, considering he killed a man over it, or maybe his pride was hurt. Maybe that's just how he reacts to things. There are people out there that do react to stuff like that, isn't there? Um, so yeah, they wanted to take whatever he had off him, but whether they knew what he had is still a bit of a mystery, it seems. Go suck on your mama's tit. Um, yeah, here's a piece of work, isn't he? So yeah, this search for him happened in 1932. I believe the train stuff happens in 1932 as well. Back in 1931 is when they when all the stuff on the ground. Yeah, okay. So I think I've got the gist of things. I think all the stuff on the ground, as I said, where we saw the American couple go into and meet up with when they bumped into Ciro, was it? I forget his name, but the guy with the fedora and the taller guy. When those four people bumped into each other. I think that was 1931. I think the stuff with this elixir is 1931, as well as this information broker stuff. That's all like 1931, and then the train stuff is 1932. Same as when we still see that this Gennard's little sister searching for him in that kind of scene at the opening. But yeah, can you imagine? I assume he probably was immortal then. He got his hands on the elixir stuff. So judging from what we see in the opening of him being drowned, is he just like locked in a box, chopped in the water, like locked up, and just like he's still alive, but just eternally drowning? Jesus, that is quite the horrible fate to afford you, isn't it? I mean, it's always a bit of a thing in media, especially with what I'm watching right now called Penny Dreadful. I'm really liking that series. It's always a bit of a thing about kind of immortality actually being much more of a curse than it is a benefit, and that very much, yeah, you would so quickly wish for death in that situation. Oh, so the train stuff, yeah, the train stuff is 1931. Oh, later on in 1931, I'm assuming, considering. Yeah, fuck knows. Fuck knows. That made me more confused. So yeah, I'm going to assume the train stuff happened later in 1931, and all this stuff here with this elixir and the old man and such happened earlier in 1931. What I'm going to say is it shouldn't make too much difference. You get the whole story here, so I would like to have things in like a timeline kind of perspective of when things happen, but maybe that's actually best looked at after finishing the series, maybe. But yeah, like I said, really good episode today. Lots of covered here, lots of characters as usual. I love this scene at the end as well, with the kind of freeway standoff. Nice bit of action in the mid portion as well, and yeah, good episode. Good episode. Love that scene in the information brokers as well. That was awesome. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys did like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date with these reactions. And I'll see you guys next time with episode 4.